यतीमी साथ लाती है ज़माने भर के रंजो गम। सुना है बाप जिंदा हो तो कांटा भी नहीं चुभता। यकीन करें बाप दुनिया का वाहिद शख्स है जो खुद से भी ज्यादा आपको कामयाब देखना चाहता है। बाप एक ऐसा क्रेडिट कार्ड है जिसके पास बैलेंस न होते हुए भी हमारे ख्वाब पूरे करने की कोशिश है। बाप की अपने बच्चों के हक में की गई दुआ सीधी अल्लाह पाक तक जाती है। मेरी उंगली पकड़ के चलते थे, अब मुझे रास्ता दिखाते हैं। अब मुझे किस तरह से जीना है मेरे बच्चे मुझे सिखाते हैं। जरा सी तबीयत क्या नासाज हुई मेरी अब्बास, बच्चे वकील को बुला कर लाए तबीयत से पहले। अजीज तर वो मुझे रखता था रगे जान से। ये बात सच है मेरा बाप कम न था मेरी माँ से। दुनिया की खूबसूरत तरीन छत बाप है। कभी वक्त मिले तो अपने वालिदैन के चेहरों की तरफ देखना, आपको पता चलेगा कि आपका मुस्तकबिल बनाते बनाते वो खुद कितना टूट गए हैं। जिंदगी की कहानी का सबसे मुश्किल किरदार बाप है और ये जिम्मेदारी को बाप के सिवा कोई नहीं निभा सकता। मुफ्त में सिर्फ माँ बाप का प्यार मिलता है, उसके बाद दुनिया में हर रिश्ते के लिए कुछ न कुछ चुकाना पड़ता है। बाप की दौलत पे घमंड करने का क्या मजा। मजा तो तब है जब दौलत अपनी हो और फख्र बाप का। घर में बाप की आवाज अल्लाह की बहुत बड़ी नेमत है। बाप के पसीने के एक कतरे का कर्ज औलाद सारी जिंदगी खिदमत करके भी नहीं चुका सकती।
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة، فقلت عليك السلام. قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا، فقلت له أعوذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به. فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به، وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلعلع كأنها البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله، فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسن قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال: يا أماه، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جدا. يا رسول الله، أتعذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي، ويا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء، فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسين قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا ولدي، ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي: يا أماه، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك وخاف تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جدا. السلام عليك يا من اختار الله، يا من اختار الله. أتعذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي، وشافع أمتي قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال: السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال: يا فاطمة، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، ها هو مع والديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتعذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له: وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وسيي وخليفتي والصاحب لواعي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت: السلام عليك يا أبتاه. يا رسول الله، أتعذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال: وعليك السلام يا بنتي، ويا بضعتي قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء، أخذ بي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأم 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 وأومى بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال: اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل البيت وخاصتي وحمتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم، وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنكم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. فقال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماعا مبنيا ولا أرضا مدحيا ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيعا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبريل: يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبريل يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض ليكون معهم السادسة؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبريل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماعا مبنيا ولا أرضا مدحيا ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيعا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم. وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا عمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبريل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جميع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وفزا شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال أبي يا رسول الله يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جميع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم محموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. سورة المباركة الفاتحة.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب عليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجر وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أأتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات إلا ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في السور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نؤمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند مهذرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم يرى الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أما يتساءلون عن النبأ الذي هم فيه مختلفون كلا سيعلمون ثم كلا سيعلمون ألم نجعل الأرض مهادا والجبال أوتادا وخلقناكم أزواجا وجعلنا نومكم سباتا وجعلنا الليل لباسا وجعلنا النهار معاشا وبنينا فوقكم سبعا شدادا وجعلنا سراجا وهاجا وأنزلنا من المعصرات ماء ثجاجا لنخرج به حبا ونباتا وجنات ألفافا إن يوم الفصل كان ميقاتا يوم ينفخ في الصور فتأتون أفواجا وفتحت السماء فكانت أبوابا وسيرت الجبال فكانت سرابا إن جهنم كانت مرصادا للطاغين مآبا لابثين وكواعب أترابا وكأسا دهاقا لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا وجزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه حجابا يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن وقال صوابا ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا إنا أنذرناكم عذابا قريبا يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه يقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا صدق الله العلي العظيم.
بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. गुर्बत में कत्ल हो गया मज़लूम बेवतन मैं भाई भाई कहती थी लाशा बहन बहन मैं भाई भाई कहती थी लाशा बहन बहन मैं भाई भाई कहती थी लाशा बहन बहन तीरों पे था रखा हुआ लाशा हुसैन का डूबा हुआ लहू में था कुर्ता हुसैन का आवाज थी हुसैन की बहना कफन कफन मैं भाई भाई कहती थी लाशा बहन बहन आई नारास दो घड़ी परदेस की हवा कुनबा शहीद हो गया मेरा घर उजड़ गया परदेस देश गैर का अपना वतन वतन मैं भाई भाई कहती थी लाशा बहन बहन एक दिन के दाग मैंने 72 उठा लिए कुछ दाग मैंने कल्ब के अंदर छुपा लिए छुपते नहीं छुपाने से दागे रसन रसन मैं भाई भाई कहती थी लाशा बहन बहन देखा है बाबा मैंने जो मंजर बताऊं क्या नेज़ा पे था रखा सर हर शहीद का घोड़ों के दौड़ने से था टुकड़े बदन बदन। मैं भाई भाई कहती थी लाशा बहन बहन। कासिम की लाश लाए थे दामन में शाहिदी। सहरे से बेनियाज थी नौशाह की जबी। एक शब भी रह न पा एक शब न रहने पाई न जिसकी दुल्हन दुल्हन। एक शब भी रह न पाई न जिसकी दुल्हन दुल्हन। मैं भाई भाई कहती थी लाशा बहन बहन। बरछी कले जाए अली अकबर में जब लगी। बाबा को दी सदा कभी आवाज मुझको दी। कहता था सीना थाम के अम्मा चुभन चुभन। मैं भाई भाई कहती थी लाशा बहन बहन। बाबा हसन से बाबा हुसैन शहीद तक। बाबा अमीर शाम से दौरे यजीद तक। लूटा है अहले शाम ने बाबा चमन चमन। मैं भाई भाई कहती थी लाशा बहन बहन। गुर्बत में कत्ल हो गया मजलूम बेवतन। मैं भाई भाई कहती थी लाशा बहन बहन।
Before I begin tonight, if I may ask all of you to please join me in reciting a Surah Fatiha for your marhumin and for my marhumin and for the Shuhada of Islam, and specifically for Marhum Pyarali Jadavji and Marhuma Ruqayya Bay Latansi, please. Fatiha. Bismillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتحدون الذي لا يدركه بعد الحمم ولا يناله غوص الفطن ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين صاحب العصر والزمان خليفة الرحمن إمام الإنس والجان، ولعن الله أعداهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. We first of all thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this opportunity to gather like this in memory of the Marhum, and both of the Marhumin, with the hopes that inshallah we get to not only pay tribute to those who have left behind, but also at the same time stop and think about our own actions and ponder a little bit of our own journey as well. I haven't met the Marhum, but both Sajjad Bhai and Hanif Bhai, my interactions with them have been always excellent. Their akhlaq, their willing to help, their behavior, respect, everything shows me that, they of course were raised properly with proper values. And it is a tribute to their father, Marhum, who of course we are here tonight to remember. But more importantly, it is a legacy that their father has left behind. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that first of all, He grants the family patience. It's never easy when you lose the pillar of the family. But at the same time, we pray to Allah, inshallah, that through the dhikr and the remembrance of their father, that both of these brothers, and if they have other siblings as well or family, inshallah, carry this legacy forward. In talking a little bit about the Marhum, and I wanted to touch on two aspects if I can in my 40-minute lecture tonight. But more importantly, the first one, if I have time, I'll touch on the second one. But the first one I wanted to speak a little bit about was the importance of family. The verse I read for you in the khutbah from the Quran says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu qu anfusikum wa ahlikum nara. O you who believe, protect yourself and your family from the fire, or from fire. It doesn't mention, the hereafter as the source of fire. There are sources of fires in this world as well. But here, Allah is addressing the believers, asking them to take part and look after, not just yourself, but look after your family as well. The things I've heard about the Marhum, he was a man of a few words, but a man of action. He was a man who gave family very, very high importance. And I think that, especially when it comes to a father-son relationship, I lost my father in my late 20s. And the one thing that I'm going to talk a little bit about is the respect of parents, the importance of the family structure. I was born and raised in Toronto, as some of you know, and I didn't give the importance that I should have to my family, to my parents. I thought it was a typical family. But later on, a little bit as I got older, I realized that the family unit is everything. The tribe at home is everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this tribalism that we have is so innate. Ya ayyuhan nas, Surah Hujurat, Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha, wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qaba'ila li ta'arafu, inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. That all mankind, we have created you from a man and a woman, and we've placed you in nations and tribes, so you may know each other. Li ta'arafu. And the one who has any honor in the eyes of Allah is the ones who are God conscious. Now this tribalism, if I can speak a little bit about this idea of belongingness in today's day and age is an innate reality. It's fitri, as you say in Urdu. It's innate inside all of us. We have this need to belong to something. And the moment that I feel like this group of mine, be it a group of friends, or be it my family, or be it whatever the case may be, the moment I feel like I belong to the tribe, then I live and I die by the tribe. One of the most important tribalism mentalities is that you are known by the tribe. We look at the tribes back in the Holy Prophet's time. If somebody had disrespected one member of the tribe, the entire tribe would come and defend that honor. If one person was killed in war in one tribe, that entire tribe would go and avenge that death. You were known by your tribe. And today's, psychology calls it belongingness. We have an innate need to belong to something. Sometimes I find today's youth, today's young guys, they are involved in, and they are part of very toxic friendships. I can tell that they are a different person when they're around these guys. Talking to them one-on-one, brilliant kid, very pious, has a great head on his shoulders. You put that same kid inside of his group, can't recognize him. Talks differently, dresses differently, walks differently. And when you approach him and says, look, the guys you're around are toxic, he'll say, I know, Malana, I know they're toxic, but they make me feel like I'm one of them. So we have this innate need to belong. We gravitate towards those people who are just like us. My father would tell me in the early 70s when he arrived from Karachi in Toronto, back then there weren't as many immigrants as there are now. He would go shopping in the grocery store, and if he saw anybody that had the same complexion as he did, he'd approach them and just start up a conversation. Could be a Hindu, could be a Sikh, could be anybody, or Muslim. Where are you from? Oh, this and that. If he found out that he spoke Urdu, they became best friends. Right? I mean, this guy is sitting there picking apples in the store, and my dad would say, kahan ke hain aap, and where are you from? And right, that's innate inside of us. It's built inside of us. A lot of today's mental health issues comes from the lack of belongingness. People feel isolated, especially during this pandemic. It's very difficult, right? But one of the first tribes that we look to belong to is the family unit. And those are my parents out there who have young children. Please understand this. And judging by my talks with the Marhum son, the Marhum was very adamant about keeping the family together, keeping the tribe together, making every person in the family feel like you own a special place in this family. You are a source of pride for this tribe. And in today's secret world, I mean, a lot of my parents, a lot of our parents ask me, okay, how can I raise pious kids, Milana? How can I keep my kid at home, blah, blah, blah. What's the secrets? There's no special secret sauce for this. It's the thing is, if you are able now to make your child feel like they are a huge part of your tribe at home, then you've done your part. Acknowledge them, talk to them, listen to them, give them their importance. Give them tasks to do, give them decisions to make, give them importance, give them some responsibilities. Let them know that, I believe in you, I trust you, you can do this job. Even if they fall flat on their face, don't worry, pick them up, dust them up, say, look, next time you do it better. It's okay, you'll be fine. But there's no interaction, there's no communication, there's no talking, they've had a rough day. You don't even bother to ask, what happened today? Are you okay? Is there something I need to do as your protector, as your mother or your father, to perhaps let you know that, look, I have your back? It took me a very long time with my father myself to know that my father had my back. I thought that this was a typical immigrant father from Karachi. He didn't know my pain, didn't know what I was going through, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't until later on in my life that I actually tapped into my father as this resource of wisdom and wealth. I would ask him about everything, from my career choices to my marriage to everything. But in my high school and university years, I thought, what does he know? What does he know? And I lowered him to nothing but an immigrant father. When in reality, he has far more wisdom than I had. But I made the mistake of falling flat on my face too many times because I refused to tap into a resource that was under my nose the whole time. The family unit is everything. It is the tribe that we need to belong ourselves to. It's a tribe that, as the heads of the tribe, the mother and the father, they have to work very hard to make sure everybody in that tribe feels like, you know what, I need to defend the tribe, the family unit. Because the moment the child feels like at home, I don't belong here. No one listens to me. Nobody asks for me. Nobody sits there and bothers, spending time with me. Nothing. I come home. I go straight up to my room. No one, for hours I'm in my room. No one comes and knocks. How was your day? What's going on? Everything okay? Blah, blah, blah. What do you want for dinner? What do you feel like tonight? Small things. Let's have a family. Let's have board games. The moment that they feel like they don't belong in the family, they will go out and look for another group to belong to. And that's when we've lost this child. It's vital that we understand that part of the way that we can create a beautiful family, and I'll give you a hadith. Oh, it's such a beautiful hadith. Our Prophet of Allah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He says, and he talks about two different groups, okay? The people of the earth and the people of the sky. Beautiful, beautiful hadith. He says that, we sometimes take our youth camping. We didn't go this year, of course, because of the pandemic, but usually every year we have an annual camping trip in our community. We take about 70, 75 kids up north, 4 hours north of Toronto. Beautiful, beautiful, campsites. 5 days, 4 nights, 3 or 4 ulama. We have a great time. And what always happens, never fails, is that the campfire, of course, which is the highlight of the day, that's when, we're able to look up to the sky and we just see the sky filled with stars. And we're just in awe. We never get that in the city. The Prophet says that the people of the earth look up to the night sky and they see stars. And he says that their eyes gravitate towards the brightest of stars. Right? Look at that bright one, look at that bright one, look how bright that one is. Right? That's how we are. He says the same way that the people of the earth look up to the sky and gravitate towards the brightest of stars, the people of the sky look down on the people of earth. And they also see the brightest of homes. And the brightest of homes are those where there is respect, there's communication, the dhikr of Allah, the Quran being read, salat being performed by Jamaat, hopefully. Just common love, common compassion, common dignity and respect for each other. No yelling and no screaming, no slamming doors, no obscene language, God forbid. Music blasting in the house, doesn't matter what meat's coming in the house. All these things are not bright homes. Now, how do we do that? How do we achieve this tribalism inside of us to keep the family unit together? And talking to the Marhum son, it was just so refreshing to hear his son talk that great about his father. Which means that his father, up until his last very breath now, did everything he could to keep this tribe strong and together. Now, how do you do that? Give me some practical tips how to do that. I'll give you one. It might sound very simple, but it works. And that is that we need to learn to acknowledge the people inside of our home. Acknowledgement is key. Think about it for a moment, okay? Think about the fact that, let's say, for example, you're sitting inside of the center, let's say, when the center opens up again, and Thursday nights, or I don't know, some night in Ramadan, we're all sitting together in a circle, you're having your tea with your friends, or your, guys that you know, and one guy walks in, says Salaam alaikum to everybody, but he skips you. Second guy walks in, says Salaam alaikum to everybody, but he skips you. This happens 3 or 4 times now. You are skipped multiple times, and you think, am I invisible? Like, hello, like, I'm right here. Like, do you not see me? Yeah, we see you. So why wouldn't you greet me? Why wouldn't you acknowledge my presence? Part of belongingness is a need to be acknowledged. Not in a, oh, look at me, I'm the best. No. But you walk into someone's home and they don't greet you, for example. Your child walks in after school and you don't even ask them, how was your day? Right away, no, start yelling, whoa, calm down. Just acknowledge the fact you're home. It was nice. How was your day? Part of the acknowledgement process is to listen very carefully. When you listen to the individual, you're giving them the sign that everything you're saying right now is of utter importance to me. That's part of acknowledgement, right? I have young kids at home, a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. My eldest is 12, right? And sometimes, when my 7-year-old comes home, she has these stories about her day. And oh man, her stories start from Nabi Adam and travel through Nabi Nuh and get to the Holy Prophet. Ooh, they're long stories. But the more that she thinks that Baba's listening, the more she'll tell the story. Okay? Same with in a marriage as well. One of the biggest things that I see when I when I talk to couples who are struggling is that Malana, he doesn't even acknowledge my presence. There's no communication. I'm talking to him or I'm talking to her. She's on her phone. She's watching the screen. She's looking here and there, or he's very distracted. He's sitting there doing something. Yeah. I hear you. One of the most beautiful things about the Holy Prophet was that if somebody in his peripheral was talking to him, he would turn towards them and look them in the eye if they were mahram to him, and he would say, look, nothing else matters right now. Go ahead and speak. I'm listening. Right? That's part of acknowledgement. Coming down and your 5-year-old saying Salamun Alaikum on a Saturday morning, greeting them, embracing them. Now they feel like, you know what, I am somebody and I have my own value inside of this house. You might think, oh yeah, I do that. Well, it goes a long way. Right? Imagine, for example, as a family, you think, okay guys, it's Friday night, it's an open night. What do you guys want to do? You guys want to, play something, do something. And your 6-year-old says, oh, I have an idea. Let's play charades. Let's play charades. Let's play a board game. Let's color together. So I remember early in the pandemic when we were all at home and schools were closed, my wife and I had asked, the kids, what do you want to do? And the 7-year-old was adamant that I just want to color with everybody. So there we were, 5 of us on the ground, on our stomachs, coloring, And I'm looking at her face and she's glowing, man. She's glowing. Like, look, the entire family is doing something I recommended. That's acknowledgement. That's the point that my voice is being heard. It's not that the moment that she opens her mouth, she quiets them down. That's not happening inside of the house. Shushing them and saying, you be quiet and this and that, right? And making them feel like they're invisible. One of the worst things we can do inside the family is to make the person feel invisible. I talk to a lot of guys in their 30s sometimes, and their lack of confidence at their work, in their marriages, in their friendship circles, sometimes all dates back to the fact that the moment I would open my mouth growing up in my home, I would be told, "Don't bas chup raho, just be quiet. Just be quiet. No one's asking you." And every time, shush me, to the point where I'd be invisible. Right? When that starts to happen, a person's self-love, self-respect, self-worth, all kind of gets sacrificed. Right? The family unit gives everything. And one of the core things, we're here tonight to remember our father, right? The core things is respecting of the parents. Now, I don't have time to touch on that, but one thing I do want to mention is something from our fourth Imam, Imam Zain al-Abidin, alayhi salatu wassalam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He says the right of your mother. If you have your mother who is alive, this is such a golden opportunity for you to serve her and carve your path to Jannah. Doesn't matter if you are young, doesn't matter if you are old, and you yourself are a mother, or you yourself are a father, but you have a mother who's elderly. Imam Sajjad says that know that your mother went hungry so you could eat. In his treatise on rights, Imam Sajjad had something called Risalatul Huquq, the treatise on rights, where he talks about many things that have rights over us. From people to organs to people to other individuals to groups of people, etc. And one of them, of course, are the rights of your mother. The right of your mother is that you should know. And part of what he says here is that she went hungry so you could eat. She went sleepless so you could sleep. She went thirsty so you could drink. And then he says very beautifully, she stood in the burning sun so you could lay in the shade. She carried you where nobody carries anybody. Went through the pains of labor to deliver you into this world, and would do it all over again if she had to. Amazing. a man comes to the Holy Prophet and says, Ya Rasulullah, I carried my mother on my shoulders while doing Hajj. Those who have been to Hajj, you know that, I went in 2016. Carrying myself by myself was hard enough. In that tawaf, in the sa'i, it was very, very hard. Now to have somebody on my shoulders or in my arms was very hard. This man says, I did that. I did the entire Hajj, all the rituals of Hajj, all the manasik of Hajj I did with my mother. She can't walk, she's old. I carried her. Have I paid her back for everything that she's done? And the Prophet says, by Allah, you have not paid her back for one night. Because while you're doing this to pay her back, she did all that she did when you were a child out of sheer love that she has for you as a child. The Prophet attends a funeral of a mother and turns to the man who just lost his mother and says, I'll pray for you. And then he turns to the friends of that guy. Says, look after your friend. From today, that shade, that saya of the du'as of a mother is no longer with him. This is what a mother is. Right? A father, Imam suggests, is the right of the father is that you should know that your father is the root and you are the branch. He is the asl, you are the far. And whatever the branch delivers comes from the roots. So again, I talk about the beautiful characteristics of both Sajjad Bhai and Hanif Bhai, and if they are the fruits and they're giving out this akhlaq and this softness and this calmness, and this devotion and this service to the community, that comes from strong roots. In this case, of course, being their marhum father. The family unit is vital, especially during these times. We have to come together to survive this very difficult and unique time that we're in. So, and everybody has a role to play, from the younger ones to the older ones to the parents, everybody. But of course, the journey of the family is directed by the two leaders of the tribe, the mother and the father. If you are a single parent, then you are, and may Allah bless you, you are carrying the load of both parents. The second point I want to make very quickly, I want to leave 5 minutes for musibah, is, the discussion on the tongue, this tongue of ours. I wish I knew how much effect my words can have on anybody. They say the moment that you allow words to leave your mouth, you are enslaved by those words. Meaning that you have to follow them wherever they go. If they create greatness and they build bonds and bridges together, then that's great. But if they destroy homes and destroy hearts and light things on fire, you can't put those words back in your mouth. You have to now go and put out those fires and go wherever the words go and make sure that you're putting out the fires. The ulama have said that 30 different sins can be attributed to this tongue alone. Hadith says many people will be dragged into the hellfire using their tongue. Imam Ali, beautiful words about the tongue. This lisan. He says this lisan is what? Jirmuhu saghiru, jurmuhu faqilu. Oh, what a beautiful hadith. The jirm of the tongue, the size, the mass of the tongue is small. It's a small piece of flesh in our mouth. But the jurm, the crime of that tongue, is faqil. It's very heavy. Think about the fact you have physical wounds. You cut yourself. You put a band-aid on. It scabs. It dries. It's gone. It's not even there. I've had, I remember scraping my knees, falling all kinds in my earlier years playing sports. I don't know where they all are. They're all gone. But the wounds from the tongue, sometimes they last a lifetime. They echo inside the minds of individuals, and later on now, in various ways, they rear their ugly head. And why do I say this? Because if we understood the power of the tongue, we would use that tongue accordingly. And there are some people who talk for 40, 45 minutes, like me right now, and nothing really good comes out of their mouth. There's a person, for example, there's always one or two guys, right, in a living room conversation who overtake the conversation, and they can be going on and on and on, and you have no idea what they're talking about. Then there are those who speak for 5 minutes and they shake the room, right? They leave such an impact. And you end up now looking at this person as a wealth of wisdom, knowing when to be quiet, knowing when to speak, choosing the words very carefully. The Marhum has been described to me as somebody who's just like that. Imam Ali says, the wise one, his tongue is behind his intellect, and the fool, the tongue is ahead of the intellect. You say something, then you think about it. That's foolish. No, first think for a moment. If what I'm saying should be said or not, then let's Bismillah say it. If not, keep quiet. There's beauty in silence. Look at what the hadith says. لو سكت الجاهل ما اختلف الناس. Beautiful hadith by Imam Ali. لو سكت الجاهل. If the jahil was sakit, was quiet, didn't use his tongue, ما اختلف الناس. There would not be ikhtilaf amongst people. There wouldn't be these differences amongst people. Meaning one of the things Imam Ali says, the differences and the problems that we have in our families, in our communities, all comes from the fact that the ignorant ones are too loud. And they believe they're showing their wisdom. No, there's wisdom in being quiet and silent. Not saying a word whatsoever. But when you speak volumes. You move mountains. You make the hearts tremble. That's the sign of a believer. That's the kind of people that we want to be. That's the legacy this marhum left behind. Not just for the siblings and for the kids and for the parents. No, for me as well. It's a good reminder for me as well, and that's why these 40th programs and these barsis and these annual programs are extremely important, because it's a good reminder for us to understand our journey. One point I want to mention before Masa'ib to the children of the marhum. Your whole life growing up, as a child especially, if you needed anything, you would ask Baba, right? Baba, I need this. Baba, I need this. Baba, I need this. And Baba would say, okay. And your whole life now, as long as he was alive, you ask your Baba for something. Baba, I need advice. Baba, I need du'as. Baba, I need this toy. Baba, can you buy me this clothes? Baba, can you buy me new shoes? And Baba, his whole life. And now your Baba is gone. He's moved on to the next world. And now from that next world, he's calling out to you. The same Baba that you would ask for help now needs your help as well. His Kitab-i-Amal is closed. His book of deeds is closed. But one chapter remains open constantly, and that is whatever sadqah jariyah he left behind. Whatever ongoing charity he left behind. And one of the biggest avenues of any of the deceased left behind that can really help him in his barzakhi life are his awlad salih, his pious children. So yes, having programs like this is very important, and it's good you have had the tribute. But do something for your father. His book is closed, but your book for his service is always open. The more Quran you read, the more light he'll have in that world. The more you feed the orphans, the more light he'll have in that world. The more you are patient with your own family, the more you are striving to be a better person, the better he becomes in that world. So oftentimes I have a lot of people ask me when they lose a parent, what can I do for my parent? You can dig a well, you can donate to orphanages, you can do all that. Of course, that's great. But one of the biggest things you can give to your father or to your mother, whoever's passed away, is to be the best version of you possible. to be the best servant of God possible, to stop and realize that this is a reminder for me. A man would approach the angel of death. Sorry, the other way around. The angel of death would approach the man and they would have this conversation. And the man would say to the angel of death, say, look, I'll make you a deal. When you come to get me, when you come to separate my soul from my body, I won't fight you. I won't make it hard for you. But you have to let me know when you're coming. Okay? So if you let me know that you're coming, and when you do come, I will go, no problem. I'm not going to fight you. The angel of death says, deal, no problem. Years pass by, and the angel of death shows up at the door of this man. He says, let's go. It's time for that next world now. He says, wait a second, we had a deal. You promised me that you would let me know. I had no idea you were coming. He goes, you didn't send me one message. And the angel says, you're right. I didn't send you one message. I sent you multiple messages. What do you mean? The whitening of your beard, the bending of your back, the cracking of your knees, the passing of your father, the bearing of the fact that you buried a young man in your community. You're watching, let's say, for example, the elderly leave one by one. Those aren't all signs for you? There are signs for you. It's a matter of us understanding those signs. And taking a hold of those signs is very, very crucial and very, very important. So from the life of this marhum, we learn what? We learn a couple of very, very important things. Number one is that he gave the tribe, the family tribe, utmost importance. Work to keep everybody united and on the same page. Secondly is that we have to be careful of our tongue. Do not be, I talk to myself now, do not be one of those individuals that will be dragged into hellfire using the tongue. And finally, let's serve the legacy of the marhum. And the ones that are connected directly to that, of course, are the children and the awlad and the offspring of this marhum. Do everything you can to be there for your father. Be the best version of you, be the best servant of God. Inshallah, that will serve to be a sense of relief for your father and a sense of salvation for him in his life in the hereafter. A few moments of musibah, inshallah, and then into masa dua. The beautiful miracle nature of Karbala is that when we go through anything in our personal life, we can always drop it in the ocean of Imam Hussein and mix our grief with his grief. Mix our grief with the grief of his family and his companions. No doubt the loss of a father is very difficult for the family. Especially, like I said in the beginning, the pillar and the father of the family. But when you got news of the passing of your father or your husband or your brother or your uncle, there are people who sent you condolences. You could cry with your family. You could really grieve for your father or for your brother or for your husband. But when you ask the heart of Imam Sajjad, he didn't have that luxury. He didn't have that luxury. When Imam Hussein now, after burying Ali Asghar, takes Bibi Zainab and goes to the tent of Imam Sajjad, and they say that Imam Sajjad was in and out of consciousness due to his sickness. Imam Hussein now shakes the shoulders of Imam Sajjad to wake him up. He's about to now go into the battlefield. Imam Sajjad looks up at him, and the book said that he couldn't recognize his own father. Head to toe now, zakhm upon zakhm, scar upon scar. The blood of Ali Asghar on his face, his back a little bit bent. Imam Sajjad looks at his father for a very long time, completely stunned and quiet. He says, Baba, Aina Akhir Ali Akbar, where is Ali Akbar? Ya bunayya qad qutil, he's been killed, my son. Baba, Aina Abul Fadl Abbas, where is Abbas? Ya bunayya qad qutil. Just know that besides me and you, there's no other men in this qafil. At that moment, my Mazloom, fourth Imam now, looking at the fate of his father now, says to his aunt, Zainab, Pupi Amma, pass me my asa and give me my sword. Give me my cane, give me my sword. For what? I have to use my cane to get me up. I have to use my sword to defend my father. Imam Hussein embraces his son. Imam Sajjad says, no, this is my Ashura. You're now about to take the women towards Kufa and Sham. That will be your difficult journey. But there's one moment on the day of Ashura, on the plains of Karbala, on the day of the 11th of Marhum that I want to make reference to, and that is this, that when the qafla was ready to go towards Kufa and Sham and leave Karbala, Umar ibn Sa'ad says, take the Bani Hashim through the Shohada, let them see who they're leaving behind. There comes a moment now where the qafla approaches the trampled body of Imam Hussein. Imam Sajjad now for the first time lays his eyes on the body of Imam Hussein. He falls down from the horse, sits there at the trampled headless body of his father, his face now changing colors, grieving and crying. Bibi Zainab says that I took myself off the horse, went to Imam Sajjad, says, Sajjad, let's go towards Kufa and Sham. Imam Sajjad, with tears rolling down his face, looks up to Zainab, says, Pupi Amma, I'll go with you towards Kufa and Sham. Just answer me one question. Have you ever heard of a son leaving his father unburied on the plains of Karbala the way I'm leaving my father unburied? سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to accept this qaleel efforts, inshallah. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that if this majlis now has earned any of your thawab or any of your grace and your lut, that you send it towards the two marhumin that we remember tonight, inshallah. We ask you, Allah, to give the family sabr jameel, inshallah, beautiful patience, and we ask you, Allah, to elevate the status of the marhumin in their hereafter and give them this hayat al-barzakhi that is filled with your rahmah and your grace and your love, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والفتر الموتور، السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. يا أبا عبد الله، لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت وعظمت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام، وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات. فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت، ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها، ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم، ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم وأشياعهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. يا أبا عبد الله، إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان، ولعن الله بني أمية قاطبة، ولعن الله ابن مرجانة، ولعن الله عمر بن سعد، ولعن الله الشمرة، ولعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتنقبت لقتالك بأبي أنت وأمي، لقد عظم مصابي بك. فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني أن يرزقني طلب ثأرك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله، إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانه وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى شياعكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم، وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب وبالبراءة من أشياعهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم. فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة. وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله، وأن يرزقني طلب ثأري مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم. وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يعطيني بمصابي بكم أفضل ما يعطي مصابا بمصيبته، مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع أهل السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد ومماته ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن آكلة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضاعف عليهم اللعن منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين عليه السلام وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم من لعن مني، وابدأ به أولا ثم الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم لعن يزيد خامسا، ولعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجانة وعمر بن سعد وشمرا وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مصابهم، الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود، وثبتني قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء، السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء، السلام عليك يا شمس الشموس، يا أنيس النفوس، يا أيها المدفون بأرض طوس. السلام عليك وعلى آبائك السبعة وأبنائك الأربع ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان، الأمان الأمان من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته.